Peace, family. How you all doing? My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Ascendant Astrology, and I am your astrology coach. Today, I'm going to be doing my interpretation of the planet Mercury, and then after this, I'll follow all 12 signs. Now, I've talked about Mercury pretty extensively on my channel multiple times because I'm a Gemini, Sun and Mercury, so I rule this energy. So whenever I talk about it, I'm super hyped. And so if you've been following me for a while, I promise you a lot of this is going to sound repetitious. But still, nonetheless, I wanted to get on here and really discuss it, just Mercury on its own without it being in any other sign. I think it's important to talk about it just from that perspective alone. Um, so yeah, without further ado, I'm going to run your ear off too much more on that. So what is Mercury? Mercury is the ruler of Virgo and it's co-ruled by Gemini. So it rules over the sixth house and the third house. Um, Mercury is intelligence. It rules books, learning, skills. It represents your clients. Um, it's business and commerce, which is the exchange of services. So what was I just do? I think I just did a video on IG talking about Mercury in Sagittarius oppose Mars and Gemini retrograde. And I think I mentioned in that video, like, people don't understand, like, Gemini is the 3D. I think Gemini represents about 90% of what we do on a regular basis. It really is the 3D realm, like it rules the 3D realm. And so anytime you're trying to change something, process something, get out of something, get unstuck from something, because it's all mental. Everything is all mental. It's all about how you think about what you're experiencing here on the 3D realm. The moment you learn how to manipulate your mind into thinking what you want, this is how you grow within Mercury, which is always, almost always the actual action, the actual intelligence, which is Sagittarius, by the way. Gemini is everything that you learn here in the 3D realm, but Jupiter just is intelligent, meaning, this is where the gurus teach you, like a Gemini will say, um, um, why do we have to have religion? And then Sagittarius can give all the details. I hope that that's making sense. Gemini is like, you have to gather information with Gemini. Gemini is the information of what it is you're trying to learn. But Sagittarius already is. Sagittarius is the answer to Gemini's question. Okay. I feel like I sound crazy saying that, but so it's business, it's commerce, it's the exchange of services. What services, Keisha? Anywhere you exchange goods and information. This is networking events because you are saying, here's my business card. Remember, Gemini is the initial conversation. It's not a long-winded exchange of information. It is the initial interest of something that you are going to go deeper into, right? So grocery stores, commerce, any store you go into, online shopping, um, um, yeah, mail, um, the mailman, the mail exchange, the post office, Jesus Christ, it's the exchange of information. Your community. Gemini is the makeup of your entire community, the errands you run within those facilities, all that. Public transportation, cars, vehicles. Um, yeah, I feel like I could go so much more in depth with that. But again, if you've been listening to me for a really long time, some of this stuff is going to sound pretty repetitive. It also rules aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, younger siblings to be specific. Your older siblings is I think it's either Leo or Aquarius, and Aquarius is usually tend to be the only child, so it could be Leo. Um, or Leo is older, your oldest child if you're a parent. Your Leo area of life rules your oldest child, but now my brain is just getting mixed up with everything. But and your neighbors, right? The people who live around you in your environment. It also rules speech, communication, intellectual conversations. Um, like what I'm doing here, I am having an intellectual conversation about something that you need to go Jupiter and look deeper, right? To go further into it. Now, if I was doing technical stuff like I had a chart up here and I was giving you numbers and showing you you know, graphs and like that, that's Jupiter. But an intellectual, intelligent conversation is Gemini, okay? Um, it also rules philosophy just like Jupiter, but Gemini is the practical philosophy. Again, this is, why do we have to go to work? Why do we have to have religion? You know, things of that nature that then it's a initial something that then you have to go deeper and gather information to do something. Um, Writing, marketing, sales, networking, education, specifically childhood education, but if you want to get technical, it actually rules all the way up until college. Now, if you go to other countries, you'll notice that their college is like a community college that they have to go through to before they can get to universities, right? And it's the same thing here, but we actually consider it a community college as not like how they do it. And the definition literally is what's making the difference here between why one goes into the other. But the reason why I'm saying that is because this is just a stronger indication of Jupiter and why Jupiter is higher education, right? This is like um the internship that you do, or what do they call it for I think doctors really is the best example because when you become a doctor you have to do something, and for whatever reason it's really really missing my brain, but it's called something, but it's like an internship, but it's really the step before you take to actually become a doctor, and you live in these units like if you was on college campus, and but you're a doctor, but you're still like working underneath somebody, just building enough credits before you come that specific thing, but you have a skill that you're teaching. um or again, it's more technical. Like this would be somebody who's actually teaching heart surgery. I think they've showed these in movies too, where they will operate on somebody and you can see everybody in the overhead watching. That's Jupiter. Um, but if we was just intellectually talking about what it means to be a heart surgeon, that's Gemini, right? And because of that differentiation, Gemini really does actually rule all the way up until college. And then it's just universities and then gurus. Again, these are people who have a skill that doesn't, that just is, I feel like I'm trying to explain it and I'm not doing a good job, but maybe you get it, maybe you don't. Um, this is writers, editors, speech therapists, information technologists, astrologers, astronomers, really than astrologers, but um, publisher, comedian, mimicker, ventriloquist, all of these magician type things. This is the manipulation of air elements. Okay, these are people, I've talked about this before. This is the um, expression of a child and the way they mimic their environment. That's how they learn because they can't speak yet. This is why Gemini rules all language, any kind of language, even sign language, body language, and even when you start to get into the whole mystical where you're reading somebody's mind, that's still a form of communication, right? Even if you can't see it, that would be Mercury and Pisces, most likely. I haven't gotten there yet, so we'll talk about it then. But if I had to put my finger on it, I'm assuming that's a Mercury and Pisces type of vibe where you communicate without actually talking. You're that deeply connected to somebody. These are all mercurial things. Um, but this is how you learn when you can't speak. And so the magician energy, the trickster energy is just a metaphor for somebody who knows how to manipulate something to look the way that you want it to, right? Like I mentioned in the Venus video, Venus is about becoming an allure. This is about doing what it takes to get what you want, just period. It's a manifesting energy, right? Mercury in that same way is to learn how to manipulate energy of all kinds, like the airbender, right? Um, in order to change your perception, change your reality, um, create what you want through writing, speaking, mirror magic, things of that nature, right? And so now we're talking about, spells and stuff, which could very well be Mercury and Scorpio. Um, any skilled teacher is Mercury, okay? Um, Yeah, when I show you how it's working, how it operates, that's Jupiter. And I feel like I did say that, but I did write it in here, so I didn't even have to get some. I'm mad now. But that's the difference between Jupiter and Mercury. Mercury is gathering the information to learn a skill, and Jupiter is somebody who's teaching how that skill works or comes about or is created from. Does that make sense? It's higher law, higher knowledge, universal law, universal knowledge, wisdom, something that comes from, it's a gift from God, right? It's something that you were born here with that you didn't have to learn to get it. You naturally and instinctively just know how to operate this thing, right? That's Jupiter. Okay. Gemini also rules hands, shoulders. So any kind of skill with your hands, it rules vocational knowledge, education as well. And all vocation is again is a skill. These are like your schools like Brandeis, that's specifically for dental, or auto mechanic that's specifically for auto mechanic. This is hairdressing schools. Something that when you come out with a skill. Because Gemini, anything that's hands-on training, which is a vocational school to be quite frank, but yeah. This could be somebody who's really good with their hands as well, will sign language. Um, I feel like there's more that I can say about that, but I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Um, Gemini is also very youthful and childlike behavior. These people, especially if you have it in your rising sign, tend to look younger. But also, again, remember when you learn how to manipulate energy, this is somebody who also embodies childlike behavior, which is why they look so young, because they really do believe in their imagination and being free, like very childlike. Um, yeah, because I know people are gonna be like, I look young and I ain't no Gemini rising. Okay, go sit back down, figure it out. But I had to put that in there because it's a good point, whether I like it or not. Um, it's a good point. And it made me think if, because I'm not a Gemini rising, so this could also be like a Venus rising or a Venus in Gemini, even if it's not in the first house. But um you could be very childlike or have a strong belief in some childlike energy, which also gives you youth, which is why Gemini also rules plastic surgery. Okay. Scorpio is the actual tactile act to it. Um, but Gemini is plastic surgeons. Maybe that's a better way to say it. And then of course, because Gemini rules communication, this is um text messages, emails, interaction, really any kind of interaction, handshake, again, short, small, sweet, hugs, um, um, witty, quick banter, flirtation, um, yeah, smartphone and snail mail. I think we're almost away from that, especially with once Gemini moves into Uranus. I said this too a long time ago. I think it was back in 2020. Once Gemini hits Uranus, ain't gonna be no more snail mail. Mark my words. But which is in 2025 or 2026. I can't really remember, but it's coming. Okay. Gemini also rules your nervous system, lungs, autism, and ADHD. Um, and autism is not to be mistaken for somebody who's slow, but Gemini, wherever you have Gemini, if you have any combination of Gemini, Uranus, Gemini, Moon, Gemini, Pluto, um, hell, I'd even say Jupiter, Gemini, and a Pluto house, um, and Pisces, Gemini, and anything Pisces or Neptune, or in any one of those houses. These are indicators of somebody who has problems because those problems are related to the nervous system 9 times out of 10. And so that's why Gemini rules mental health and a lot of mental health issues. But actual mental health is, believe it or not, ruled by Pisces. So again, any kind of Mercury, Gemini, Pisces, Neptune combination, highly likely that you are extremely intelligent, but probably seen as autistic or having some kind of mental health issue, which, again, I don't think that's true, but, you know, it is what it is. You know I fucking love y'all. Let's talk about Gemini all day. Don't forget, Gemini rules the streets, your gangsters, your street knowledge, hood shit, gang banging, busting all. But it does. It rules all of that. Short distance travel, I don't think I said that. Um, but yeah. So it is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. I hope y'all got some good information from this. I love and appreciate y'all. Peace.